think our lives are so much, integration is so much about intentionality. It's being really conscious and aware of what we do and why we do it, and attach meaning to the choices that we make. These things we practice and live are part of our vocation. It's part of holding us, of bringing these experiences to life in what we do. So, and then the last thing is to recognize that mission is everywhere. It's not just the places where we go. It's to have a mindset, a heart, and a lifestyle of mission. To recognize it's in my own community, it's in my own family, and it's around the world. We're obviously a special focus are these places that you're in relationship with, but it's hopefully allowing you to see that I'm called to live mission every day, everywhere, with everyone that I meet. These experiences are special ways that I can live it out. These are special opportunities to learn and teach me how to live it in my daily life.
One lives faithfully to one's mission experience by defining that, then choosing it, having a plan for it, acting on it, and holding oneself accountable. There's a much greater chance you'll live what you believe in with integrity when we live intentionally, and when we define and can articulate what our actions mean. In this way, we live our vocation. But trying to do everything would be overwhelming. Each person has to find ways that fit with them.
So I think everybody has to find their own way of doing it. It's rising to the occasion of the challenge. And some people haven't thought about this before, but I think that's part of why God calls us to these experiences, not just for 10 days somewhere and meeting some people that I'll never forget.
Following through on our commitments generally requires a community to hold us accountable to our plans.
Because a lot of this can be countercultural. None of this stuff we can do in isolation. And that's why you went as a community and your community sent you out. It's really important that your community, you bring it back to your community and you live it within community. So it's hard to live any of this stuff without others. And so it's important both in your families, your friends, and your faith communities that you have a place that helps you live these values. And it influences how you impact the community because of it.
In our team, we were talking about that it's easy to do that within our community of people that share the same faith. But when we go back to the world outside, it's much more challenging. And it's a challenge that you feel exposed, you feel vulnerable, and subject to rejection.
Right.
So it's many times more difficult. How do we face the world with the things we think or with the different perspective we have?
Well, and when you have a base that you can return to that supports that, hopefully it helps you live what you're about when you walk out the door.
Sometimes you don't have a built-in community who understands the you that has returned from a short-term mission. If that is the case, in order to not leave the experience up on a shelf with your pictures, you have to seek out a community that has values more in line with the new values that you have acquired.
It's to find, events in the community where people with your values, where do they gather? Is there a speaker? Is there an event going on? Those are people like that. You have to find them to really live this. I find that when you have some others who understand what you're about and share your values, then it frees your friends and family who aren't into the same thing that you are. You don't need them to be in it. My family was not very supportive of me going to Africa. For a number of different reasons, but I always had a great support system, and we're coming to an end here now. We've done a lot. You've had lots of conversations, I've talked at you quite a bit. I'd like you to just kind of sit for a moment. I want to kind of replay the day. We started off with the summons and will you come and follow me if I but call your name? You will go where you don't know and never be the same. We started with that. You had an opportunity to share some stories today. You had the chance to remember some of the people of your experience and to talk about them a bit. You had a chance to look at some of the things that you learned through your experience. We prayed for those, we prayed about some of the hard parts and the hurts and how our hearts can be broken open through these experiences when we encounter those whose lives are difficult and people who are suffering. And then this afternoon we talked about this big topic of what do I do with this? How do I keep it alive? And living these values, recognizing that I am a mission and that if I allow this experience to touch me, whatever it is I do in my life, that I do it as a person with soul. I live out my vocation. So I